Hi, I'm Scott from Specialised and welcome to our EasyPanel AAC system presentation. What is AAC? What does it stand for? AAC stands for autoclaved aerated concrete. Aerated concrete starts its life as a simple slurry made out of sand, cement, before an aluminium powder is added. The aluminium powder reacts with the cement in the product, which makes the product foam and bubble, essentially making the bubbles that we see here. Just like this chocolate. The hydrogen gas that it creates then just evaporates into the atmosphere harmlessly. Once it's foamed and it starts to go hard, the product is cut with a wire depending on the thickness that the customer wants. Could be 50 mil, could be 100 mil, whatever they need. It's then put into a large steam oven called an autoclave, and it's cooked for around about 12 hours before it goes nice and hard. The product gets its name because it's autoclaved in a steam oven, so it's autoclaved aerated concrete. Before we move on, I better get this cranking. Aerated concrete was first patented in 1924, but didn't really get into full swing production until about 1930 or 1940, so essentially it's been around for about 80 odd years. On an international basis, there are now millions of cubic metres of aerated concrete made worldwide every year. We believe there's about 300 homes every month finished in autoclaved aerated concrete in New Zealand. Our chosen product is called EasyPanel. It's 50 millimetres thick and it's connected to a timber framing over a dry vented cavity system. Once it's been put in place, it's fully flashed around the windows. It's then finished with a mesh, plaster and paint system. There are 10 really important things that we think you should know about aerated concrete and our chosen product EasyPanel. So let's show you what they are. Number one, it's environmentally friendly. Essentially all it is a great big cake made out of sand and cement cooked in a steam oven. So there's almost zero emissions when it's made. Any waste or byproduct that comes out of the processing plant goes back in, crushed down to make more product. It's non-toxic and it won't have any nutritional value for rats, mice, rodents and other pests. Number two, EasyPanel is extremely lightweight. Believe it or not, even although it's made out of concrete, it still floats. As a finished system, as we've just seen, the product weighs around about 36 kgs per square metre. When you compare that to bricks, which weigh an average of 180 to 220 kgs per square metre, there's a massive difference. That means you don't need a massive foundation to support the weight of EasyPanel, and it can be installed free hanging. Believe you me, when you start using bricks in spray zones, the price of those lintels when they have to turn to stainless steel goes absolutely through the roof. There's none of those additional costs with EasyPanel. Number three, earthquake strength. Really important for all of us as Kiwis. There's no real easy way of showing this, so what we thought we'd talk about is the way that BRANZ tested for us. BRANZ stands for the Building Research Association of New Zealand, and they're a critical part of our product and our testing. You're going to have to excuse my crude drawing here, but I think you'll understand what I mean. BRANZ starts off with a wall which is 2.4 by 2.4 metres, which has a top plate connected across. We then come along, screw off our panels, in a typical configuration like the outside of a house, fixings in place, the wall is then mesh, plastered and finished, just like the model you saw earlier. BRANZ then connect a small oscillating ram to the top corner of the wall. The oscillating ram moves back and forth, essentially raking the wall. It's connected at the bottom so it can't move down here. It starts with about 1 millimetre movement and gradually grows up from there. When bricks are tested in this environment, bricks will essentially fail and fall off the wall at about 10 to 15 millimetres worth of movement. BRANZ tested the EasyPanel system to 40 millimetres, which was the limit state of their booth. So that's a hell of a lot of racking, right? When the system had finished being tested, yes, there were cracks in the outside wall. They could be repaired. The real key thing is that the wall in the middle of an earthquake isn't going to fall off and harm anybody, and that's really, really important to us. Number four, fire resistance. Pretty important in any new home. I'll turn this off because it's been cranking for a few minutes now. As you can see, aerated concrete is completely non-combustible. A little bit hot to touch right on that side. There's absolutely no heat transfer through the product. On an international basis, AAC is used extensively for inter-tenancy firewalls and for walls that are close to boundaries that require some sort of fire rating. Really, really important in our New Zealand environment now when we're building so many apartments. Number 5, thermal resistance. Because EasyPanel has a huge amount of air trapped in its structure, it has really good thermal properties. That's really important because it's put on the outside of the home where temperature fluctuates. It'll help keep your house cooler in summer and warmer in winter, and overall keep your energy consumption down because the insulation's at the right place on the outside. Number 6, breathability. Due to its really porous nature, EasyPanel will help your house breathe. It will absorb moisture and release it back into the atmosphere harmlessly with no issues whatsoever. It'll stop condensation build up inside your home, so no rainy windows. This was actually quite hard for me to figure out how we were going to show, but I've set up a crude little experiment here. I've got a bit of a bottle with a little piece of panel stuck in the middle. Normal water poured onto the top of the panel. As you can see, even though it's made out of concrete, it's 100% breathable. Number 7, penetration flashings. Every window and every door in every EasyPanel home have our own unique proprietary window flashings installed as part of every installation. They protect the vulnerable joint between the plasterwork and the aluminium joinery. As part of our brand's appraisal, these are tested at brands to withstand hurricane force winds. So I suppose at the end of the day, if your roof blows off your house, at least you know your windows aren't going to leak. Number 8, fixings. One thing that really sets us apart from our competitors is our fixings. We choose to fix EasyPanel right through the exterior cladding and into the timber framing. We do that over the top of an ultra high density polystyrene batten. That creates our 20mm void. Essentially, the polystyrene batten allows for the timber framing to move slightly independently of the cladding, which stops the sort of structural raking forces being transferred through, which is really good over the life of the dwelling. These fixings were tested at brands up to hurricane force, about 230 kilometers an hour. The studs actually deflect 40mm with no real effect on the outside cladding. Yeah, hey, there's a couple of cracks, but my goodness, the studs actually broke before the cladding did anything. Number 9, reinforcing. One thing that sets us apart from our competitors is the way we choose to joint our panel. We choose to use a moisture-cured polyurethane-based adhesive, which means the panel can be put up whether it's windy, whether it's wet, or whether it's dry outside. This glue makes the joints in the panel stronger than the actual panel itself, so it makes sure that the cladding on the outside is ultra durable. The other thing that we haven't concentrated on is the panel itself. Inside the panel, there is a steel wire mesh, much like you get in your concrete driveway. This has a special coating on the outside which makes sure that it's completely rust inhibited, and the steel itself bonds onto the aerated concrete, which makes the sheets nice and easy to carry around on site. It also makes it ultra durable and ultra hard when it's on the outside of the house. Let's go and have a look at some being taken out. Just to show you how the steel sits inside the panel, we'll try and smash some of the panel away. As you can see, it has a specialty coating on the outside which not only protects the steel from any rust, but makes sure that it bonds to the panel, which makes it really solid on site. Number 10, maintenance. It's a pretty big thing for all of us. When EasyPanel is finished, it's typically painted in a 3-coat paint system or a light acrylic texture to give it its final look. Ultimately, these are going to require a light water blast once every 12 months for 2 years to keep them looking their very best. But if you've used a really good 100% acrylic paint, you'll get a minimum of 7 to 10 years out of that paint before it needs recoating. Ultimately, I think personally, I'd rather paint a nice flat surface once every 7 to 10 years than be sanding, filling and painting weatherboards. Whoo-wee. Not for me. EasyPanel, good stuff. Another unique feature of EasyPanel is the ability to put negative detail into the surface. We've done a bit of a pattern here, but this can be done with any simple router with any simple router bit. You can go up to about 15mm in depth any width, any shape you like. You can put lines in the outside of the dwelling within reason, but it adds a lot of texture and dimension to the outside of the dwelling. Perhaps consider it for your next project. Okay, so what have we learned? We know that autoclaved aerated concrete is really environmentally friendly. We know that during fire testing it performs exceedingly well. And we know that it's lightweight. That sample's still floating away there. The three things that really set Specialized EasyPanel system off against its competitors are its flashing kit. This has been brands appraised and tested to ensure that every window in your house is completely weathertight. The glue that we choose to use to glue our panels together. That means that every joint in the house is stronger than the panel itself, so there's no risk of cracking. And third but not least is the fixing. As we showed, this goes right through into the framing to make sure that the cladding is ultra durable during earthquake, to make sure that everybody can get out of your house safely. We really hope that you consider EasyPanel for your next project. Thanks a lot for watching.